Oh, great.
Recording in progress.
Great. How's the weather right now in European Union?
Hot. We had a round of heat wave last week, and again, another round of heat wave is coming.
I see. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, right now I know there is a huge problem with heat and heat waves in the EU in England. Yeah, we are working on it right now, creating some awareness. So I might imagine a lot of my friends are calling and actually telling that the weather is not quite well right now.
Yeah.
In Kyrgyzstan, we have about 40 Celsius as well, but it's not super hot.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it is like
yeah.
bearable, so we can deal somehow with it. Yeah, good evening, dear guest. We will start actually in 9 minutes.
I have a problem with my presentation. I have sent it already to Mr. Sandun. I may
Okay.
request when the presentation starts, I may request, yeah, it is projected on screen from your side because yeah, it requires, I don't know, some setting. It goes to setting and so and connects me to Zoom docs, not to my files. I don't know what's wrong again.
Oh, okay. Okay, Mr. Amir, was it your link for the presentation through Google Drive? Because I have it, and I've actually sent the request
Okay, no,
for now.
let
Yeah,
me see again.
I can type my email. Welcome to send the link for now. Yeah, so the email is into the chat, so you can share me the link for now, and I will open that.
Okay, you send me your email in the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah. Please share the presentation so I will be able to open it.
I send my presentation to the email that Mr. Sandun has given.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amir.
Check it
Yeah,
out.
I well received. Thank you
Yes,
so
Mr.
much.
Amir, thank you. It is totally fine now.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I will receive it, and right now I uploading it to be able to share.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, we can practice for now, trying to share it from the first slide.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Okay,
yeah,
you can see it actually
good,
full
yes.
screen, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
Okay,
yeah.
put it on the screen.
okay, okay. That is great. Thank you. Sandun, thank you, Mr. Amin.
Okay,
Okay, we will actually
thank
start
you.
just in 1 minute. We are all set, and in 1 minute I will start introducing you as a key speaker and say greetings to our respected guests. Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear participants, guests, colleagues, and friends. We are pleased to invite you today to our respected webinar, Anticipated El Niño, Strengthening Preparedness and Climate Resilience in Asia and Africa. And today, our very insightful and very interesting talk will be from Mr. Amir H. Delju, Senior Scientific Officer of World Meteorological Organization, WMO. Mr. Amir coordinates WMO's contributions to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, mainly on adaptation to climate change and climate science base for action. Before we start our great presentations, I would like to give you a brief context. For now, we know that climate change is actually a problem trying to be solved from every corners of our world, and this is actually global. That's why we are here. Sometimes we provide something like awareness campaigns and art contributions from different countries as well. Today we will get a wide range of tools and skills how we can actually deal with that. Before we start, I would like to show you a brief headliner on heat waves solution we are developing for now, and Environment Key Global via founder Sandun will be a great example of how we can promote this initiative. So let's have a look very briefly, and we will start in 1 minute with a keynote speaking. So this is how we can actually see heat waves and how we can deal with that.
Hi, friends.
Hi, Thomas.
How are you doing, man?
Hurry, come inside. Oh, it's such a heat outside.
Drink regularly, not just when you're thirsty.
Water and unsweetened tea are more effective than alcohol, coffee, and sweetened sods.
Please stay safe and please take care about yourself and your relatives. So let's start. Mr. Amin, thank you for joining. Today you're our respected speaker, and we are pleased and happy to start with your great presentation.
Thank you very much, Madam Maslova. Please put the first slide on the screen. Thank you. Greetings from Geneva, Switzerland, and welcome to all participants from. My name is former senior scientific officer in the World Meteorological Organization. When I was in the office, I was also WMO's designated contact point to UNFCCC, the UN body that provides platform for negotiation on climate change. As you note on the screen, the title of my presentation is Anticipating El Niño, Strengthening Preparedness and Climate Resilience in Asia and Africa. I would like to thank Environment Key Global, who has organized this seminar or webinar at a kind of critical point where the world is heading toward El Niño. Next slide, please. In this presentation, Southern Oscillation itself, La Nina, and neutral period. What do they mean? Then how do we measure ENSO and how do we observe El Niño cycles? And what are recent updates from the World Meteorological Organization? What are the impacts during the El Niño years? How do we adapt El Niño, and what are anticipatory measures? In the end, we will have also a brief number of key messages and practical recommendations. Next slide, please. So on this slide, I will briefly the ENSO is one of the most important and longest studied climate phenomena and the topics that have been worked jointly with climatologists and oceanographers. ENSO can lead to large-scale changes in sea level pressure, sea level temperature, and precipitation and winds, not only in the tropics, but across many other regions of the world. ENSO describes the natural year-to-year variations in the ocean and atmosphere in the tropical Pacific. Sea surface temperature in the central and eastern equatorial Pacific cycle between above and below average. And El Niño, the warm period, occurs when the central and eastern equatorial are middle part of the diagram that you see on the screen. Normally, when winds blowing from the east to west weaken, time to ocean to warm up, absorb more heat from the sun, and there is low mixing level in the ocean water. That's why a large body of the water starts warming higher than normal or higher than average. In La Nina condition, in the bottom of the diagram, when central and eastern equatorial Pacific waters are substantially cooler than usual, you see in the bottom, La Nina happens. The La Nina condition, in the La Nina condition, trade winds are strong. You see the arrow is bigger and thicker. It is the trade wind blowing from the east to the west, and it usually brings a higher rain toward the east, to Indonesia and those parts. In neutral period, as you see, this is an ocean and atmosphere interaction and cycle. That's why it also called, because the state of the ocean and atmosphere depend on each other. As the conditions of the ocean change, the atmosphere responds, and vice versa. The main indicators of these changes are pressure, it is atmospheric pressure, I have put on the slide, and then we have ocean temperatures that are directly monitored, and then it builds the coupled system between ocean and atmosphere. Next slide, please. Visualize the expression of the El Niño, La Niña, and neutral period, neutral system, that shows how warm water expands in the ocean during El Niño, and vice versa, how cold water expands during La Niña period. Next slide, please.
Yeah, Mr. Amin, while I'm switching to the next slide, Mr. Sandun have some greetings to our respected ministers. Excuse me. Sandun, do you like to tell while I'm switching to the next slide? I give the
Really sorry
notification.
for the, yes. Thank you, Aline, and really sorry for the disturb for Mr. Amir. And I think it is a small mistake from our side. Then good morning and good evening, good afternoon, everyone. And Mr. Amir H. Delju, keynote speaking today, as well as honorable ministers, especially from Kenya, Burkina Faso, and any other African region as well as Asian countries. So, as well as honorable representatives from another government, high-level ministries and departments, as well as representatives of international organizations, as well as members of the Institute of Environmental Professionals, members of the Youth Environmental Professionals Forum, as well as representatives of the IAAS Sri Lanka, and all the members of Environment Key Global, and all the young environmentalists. So a very warm welcome to all of you. And it is my great pleasure to welcome you to this special international webinar organized by Environment Key Global in collaboration with Youth Environmental Professional Forum of the Institute of Environmental Professionals Sri Lanka and the Institute of Environmental International Association of Students in Agriculture and Related Science. So thank you very much for joining us this evening. So I think you know about environmental keys already conduct so many webinar sessions for the increased environmental literacy and environmental knowledge management. So today, climate change is, it is no longer a challenge for the future. So it is already happening now. So then across many countries in Asia and Africa, including Sri Lanka, India, Africa, Kenya. So we are experiencing floods, drought, extreme heat, and change in rainfall patterns, water shortage, and many other climate-related challenges. So I think in these days, El Nino is a very famous technical word in the region. Not only region, it is worldwide in these days. So during the past few years, Environment Key Global also has successfully organized more than 100 environmental knowledge sharing events. So connecting with around more than 7,000 young environmentalists from 48 countries. So I would now like to express my sincere appreciation to our distinguished keynote speaker. It is a great honor for us to welcome again Mr. Amir H. Delju, dear sir. He's a senior scientific officer retired of the World Meteorological Organization. So, dear sir, thank you again very much for accepting my short invitation. Skipped your busy schedule. So, your willingness to share your knowledge and global experience with young people as well as government officials, academics, and environmental professionals is deeply appreciated. So, your expertise in climate services, climate adaptation, and international climate cooperation will certainly inspire all of us and strengthen our understanding of El Nino and climate resilience. So again, we are truly honored to have you with us today. So finally, before the conclude, very small welcome thoughts. So in that time, Mr. Amir, sir, we met in last COP30, and he's a great man, and he's a very humble and very kindless people. So again, thank you so much, dear sir, and your time, your valuable time. So I would like to thank every participant who joined us in this evening. Your presence shows our commitment to learning, sharing knowledge, and working together for a more sustainable future. Again, thank you very much. And Alina, thank you so much for your time and as a moderator. I think we know you will done the amazing job, and I wish you all the productive and splendid webinar. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sandun. It's a great pleasure to have all stakeholders participate in our keynote speaker here. And right now, from our practice part, let's go to the scientific part and learn more about El Niño and La Niña cycles.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Sandon, informing me that we have high-level officials attending this webinar. It is an indication of your success, the teamwork of your institute, and also the importance of this subject that involves everybody on the planet. So El Nino and La Nina cycles are part of natural behavior of the climate system. However, climate change intensifies the impacts of this. When it develops, normally from April to June, the months that just finished, is the onset period, which gives strong indication and evidence that we get sure it has started, as I said, by observing sea surface temperature anomaly, deviation from the normal. And it's February. So we still need to wait to see the full-fledged onset of this phenomena in coming months. However, already we are observing heat wave in the world, in UK, in France, Spain, and even in Switzerland, that where I'm living. Typically, when El Nino starts, it lasts from 1 full year. Its duration stays longer, so the impacts will be more severe. And normally, El Nino happens every 2 to 7 years. If it happens very frequently, it will be weak. But if it happens rarely, we wait 5 to 7 years, it will be a very strong El Nino because ocean takes time to capture the heat and react. Next slide, please. So how do we observe El Nino? The very first parameter is sea surface temperature. We have in situ observation on the place by buoys. These are called ocean buoys, which are many around the oceans in the world. They are hosted by meteorological organizations. The marine services manages these buoys. They report the temperature, wind speed and direction, and humidity over the surface of the ocean. And this data is accumulated in meteorological and climate data centers. They are analyzed by models, and the model output can give us a kind of understanding how, in which direction El Nino is going, how is it evolving, will it be strong or not? And then this information is also coupled and complemented by satellite monitoring, which gives us a broader hemispheric and global vision of the oceans. And also we understand how much of the heat from the ocean goes to atmosphere and how it will lead to extreme events like heat waves, extreme precipitation, and storms. Next slide, please. Also, how do we measure the El Nino Southern Oscillation? As I explained in the scientific part, ENSO is not just limited to oceans. It also includes atmospheric component of this phenomena because the heat goes to the atmosphere and it affects the wind speed and direction, and also it leads to convectional movement. Leads to subsidence of air masses. When air mass is coming down, it kills any precipitation and brings heat wave and drought. So in a joint work between oceanographers and climatologists, The tropical atmospheric ocean array, TAO, is defined in 4 regions. In the right top diagram, you see 4 regions are jointly defined by climatologists and oceanographers. Region 1, which is called Niño 1 plus 2, the white box. It is near to Peruvian coastlines in Latin America. It's the very first place that gives signal either sea surface, ocean surface is warming or cooling. So it's only for observation of the temperature. Then we come to Niño 3, which gives the Niño 3 gives us the very clear indication of the temperature variability. And then if it is warming, like El Nino, the warm water moves toward the west, toward Australia, Indonesia, which comes to in a joint region between 3 and 4. It is called 3.4. When the warm water reaches to middle of the ocean, to those parts, we get sure that El Nino onset has started. And WMO gives the very first El Nino update to the world, giving the quantitative index, how is it? And so when coming to blue boxes, Niño 4, it is where atmospheric component gets involved. It leads either to convectional movement of the atmosphere upward, giving high precipitation toward the west, or bringing downward movement of the atmospheric components that leads to drought and heat waves, which is the case for El Nino. So Niño 4 readings are a strong indicator for precipitation conditions over Indonesia and Australia. It is the readings over Niño 3.4 capturing both important sea surface variability and the changes of strong precipitation. In the diagram in the lower part of the slide, you see how the direction of ocean currents change from El Nino normal year or period to El Nino. In normal year, which is neutral, the ocean current move the east toward the west, bringing hot water toward the west, Australia and Indonesia. But in El Nino period, it is the opposite. So trade winds weaken very much and the currents get in a reverse direction. It affects the fisheries. We will review what are the impacts, agriculture, all those sectors. Next slide, please. Okay, so when we express the El Nino happening, the onset, we need to give the world a better understanding, a quantified understanding, or a simplified understanding that how strong will it be. It's not too scientific language. It is simplified to help the public and also user community to understand better how much they need to be prepared and what is the situation. So the classification is based on sea surface temperature deviation from the averages. Weak El Nino gives an indication that the sea surface water is the increase is between 0.5 to 0.9 degrees centigrade above normal. Moderate El Nino is 1 to 1.4 degree warmer than normal. A strong El Nino is 1.5 centigrade to 2 degree greater than normal. And very strong or super El Nino gives an anomaly exceeding 2 degrees centigrade. This is the case for this year, 2026. That's why it is very important. And in next slide, we will see in which kind of scale are we existing. Next slide, please. Okay, so if we review historical records of El Nino happening, the El Nino is recorded from 1877 to 1878, and it was where the very first in situ observations with instruments started by human being. Ships recorded the temperature in a very basic manner, but fortunately they recorded the values on paper, which were used later. That was a super El Nino. So as I said, above 2 degrees of average temperature of ocean is super El Nino. That event led to 60 million deaths due to famine in the world, mainly in Southeast Asia, which has the highest density of population, and Africa, and partially also in Latin America. It was called the Great Drought or global famine. The second strongest recorded El Nino in modern life, which the diagram shows on the right, was recently published by U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. It was in 1997 to 1998. The sea surface temperature deviation from normal was 2.4 degrees higher. In 2015, 2016, again, we had 2.4. And I remember in Europe, we had new records of heat wave and temperature. And in 2026, this year, we 2.4 to 3 reach to 2.7 average, which is something similar to super El Nino that happened in 1877. Of course, in 19th century, when it happened, human being was not that much prepared to cope with El Nino impacts, and the understanding of this phenomena was not broadly communicated, understood. But today, in modern life, awareness raising is very important. Governments, communities, public, farmers, and climate practitioners are well aware how to deal with this phenomena. However, as I said, climate change brings an additional challenge because not at all the time our calculations, projections, and preparations are perfect. Next slide, please. This diagram shows a standard or typical representation of impacts that we observe in the Pacific seas and in other continents. So this is a very kind of standardized expression. It doesn't mean that definitely dry and wet period will happen exactly in the same geographical area. As I said, El Nino brings uneven impacts. So the risk is that dry regions may expand, may move upward, lower, eastward, that some practitioners should be prepared for every scenario. During El Nino period or cycle, as you see, I don't go to Latin America or other regions. I just focus on webinar. The atmosphere, but when the maximum precipitation happens on oceans, it means that land will get less water, less precipitation. That's why during El Niño, the maximum part of Australia, Southeast Asia, Indonesia will be very dry. It will heavily monsoon in India. The monsoon will be weakened, even though some small parts may be wet for a very short period, but with like extreme precipitation, very short period. Africa has three typical regions. Horn of Africa, logically, lower part of it is wet. Central part of Africa is dry from July to September. Definitely, southern part of Africa will be very dry. This will heavily affect yield, crop yield, and agriculture. But again, as I said, particularly due to climate change, these regions may experience little bit different impacts, stronger or weaker, and bring unexpected kind of situation. Next slide, please. Well, you see, in the linear period, everything becomes upside down or vice versa. The same regions who were dry will become wet, and the regions who were wet will become dry. So this is La Nina situation, which is not exactly the case now. We are heading to strong El Nino. Next slide, please. Okay. Is responsible UN body authoritative voice to provide update on the status of El Nino. Why we are doing that? Because there are around 20 models in the world hosted by countries, mostly developed countries who have climate models, and they normally focus on national territory and areas. So these 20 models sometimes give a kind of diverse understanding of the intensity and geographical coverage of El Nino. They have also different criteria and indications to use. But what WMO does, brings all these models, review and provide a consensus base to give a global understanding and universal picture that what will happen. So this year, the WMO statement was issued in May, and it shows that El Nino conditions have developed in the tropical Pacific and are forecast to strengthen rapidly over the coming months, increasing the likelihood of heat waves, droughts, heavy rainfall, and other extreme weather events in many parts of the world. So this is what WMO has issued and warned the world. And I saw a statement from the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, which referred to this statement and also cautioned governments to be prepared. Every 3 months, WMO updates this statement, and we put the link there. You can go and review it. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned many times, the very first indication of El Nino or impact is temperature anomalies on land and in continents. In Europe, the precursor is quite clear. The European Climate Center Copernicus, which provides monthly reports, reported that May 2026 was the second warmest May in history of Europe. And during the heat wave last week, observed new records in Geneva, we had 38.9 degrees, which was a new record. In many other cities in Europe, in Spain, temperature exceeded 40. Such temperatures did not exist in Europe. Imagine Europe is far from the Pacific Ocean, but as I said, ocean impacts atmosphere, and atmosphere has global circulation. The heat moves everywhere, so there is no border to such phenomena. Everybody on the globe will be, and this report shows Asia, Africa, and Southeast Pacific. Next slide, please. So major impacts of El Niño. First of all, it brings extreme weather condition. El Niño can experience dry periods. So common effects will include heavy rainfall and flooding in some regions, like Latin America, droughts and water shortages in other regions, like Southeast Pacific, India, Indian Ocean region, Africa, heat waves and unusually warm winters, which Europe is part of it, increased risk of landslides and storms where heavy rainfall will happen. Next slide, please. The second set of impacts caused by El Niño is given to agriculture and food supply. Changes in rainfall and temperature, failure, fisheries disruption, particularly in Latin America, is the very first thing Peruvian fishermen observed. And high food prices, which is the secondary impact coming after that. And farmers may struggle with planning schedules and water availability. I was checking what will happen, particularly in Sri Lanka and Indian region. I will come in next slides, particularly due to a weakened monsoon. The rainfall won't come at right season, right months, right period. It will affect tea farms, rice paddies, and then food supply. Next slide, please. The third major impact is on water resources. Reduce the water flows and reservoirs in dry regions, contaminated water supplies because of floods, increased competition for fresh water, on aggregated water lands, and hydropower generation. Hydropower generation is very important. It has also direct linkage to adaptation under climate change scenarios. That's why the greater use of renewable energies will make you independent and not to really depend on hydropower that suffer from flooding and drought periods. Next slide, please. Health impacts, mainly because of heat waves. In France, just last week, around 1,300 elderly people have passed away. These are what recorded in hospitals. There have been many more cases which were not taken to the hospitals, and very elderly people have passed away just because of 1 week heat wave. So health impacts is very important. Malnutrition from food shortages, waterborne diseases, and mosquito-borne diseases, which are intensified during high humidity, hot temperatures, and those conditions. Next slide, please. And economic and infrastructure damages, which are affected homes and businesses. Energy systems can come under high pressure. If it is a heat wave, the pressure will be on energy consumption. And if there is no, it will affect the whole system. It will affect tourism and fishing industries, and countries may face in recovery costs. In Asia, mainly during El Niño, failure of monsoons in India and parts of China can lead to catastrophic droughts. Preparations should can affect several regions, especially in southern and northeastern Africa. Next slide, please. How to adapt to El Niño? Of course, El Niño is a cyclic phenomena that is happening every almost 5 years to you show that in we know which region will experience what phenomena, but it's important really to build on previous pieces of experience and improve our preparations. First of all, for water management, store water during wet periods, like rain harvesting. I don't know these facilities, how much are available. Improve irrigation efficiency. This is very important. Reduce the evaporation and loss of water in irrigation systems. Recycle and conserve water. Build drought-resistant infrastructure and also agricultural products and crops, which are more drought-resistant. Don't consume that much water. We call it climate smart agriculture. So use drought or flood tolerant crops, adjust planting dates, diversify crops and income sources to help small farmers, improve soil moisture retention. Soil moisture is more important than even precipitation. If you don't have precipitation for a long period, but if you manage to keep moisture in the soil by having right and resistant plants on soil, you will survive. The agriculture industry will survive. On early warning systems, governments and communities can monitor climate forecasts, which are issued by national meteorological and hydrological services and their regional climate centers, prepare evacuation plans, issue flood and heat alerts, and educate communities about risks. This webinar is a good example on awareness raising and education of communities. Strengthening infrastructure, improve drainage systems, build flood barriers, design heat-resistant buildings, and also protect power and transport systems. Next slide, please. Okay, on anticipatory measures, first of all, you should understand what are your regional risks. We discussed that during El Niño for Indian Ocean region, weakened monsoon means a lot in terms of having less precipitation, having precipitation not at correct period, affecting water resources, affecting agriculture. So understanding the regional risks are very important. Also for Africa, the central western part and southern part definitely will experience drought period. And also if you are in drought prone area, central, prioritize water conservation, improve brush to prevent wildfires. Wildfires always happen in Europe during heat waves. I don't know how they happen in your regions. They are very, very important. And if in heavy rainfall throughout areas you are existing, like Latin America, which is not the subject, clear and prepare for emergency supplies. Next slide, please. So health is very important, and above all other topics, because it directly affects people, human being, and particularly more vulnerable community. First, elderly kids. So El Nino frequently brings extended heat waves and stagnant air because it is high pressure system. There is no wind and heat builds and builds up. So avoiding the exposure to heat and sunlight is very easy. Stay in cool places, in shadows, particularly if you have access to underground places, they are much. Vector control, eliminate standing water around your property to prevent outbreaks of mosquito-borne illnesses like dengue fever. And check medical guidance. I don't know how much medical authorities are involved. It's not just water and agriculture and disaster risk reduction officials. Medical officials play a very important role to lower the risk and the loss of life and damages. Next slide, please. So the third part of anticipatory measures is about agriculture. Fortify agriculture and food supplies. You have been aware that El Nino would happen at least since 3 months ago, and now you are sure that it is happening. So first of all, ensure about major food supplies, the first requirements, diversify and protect crops, plant drought-tolerant or flood-resistant crop varieties, monitor food security. This is very important role for governments to ensure that it will be accessible and well distributed to the community, to people, not to leave any suffering, and stay updated on agricultural risk. So for agriculture, even during drought period, you may experience sudden heavy precipitation in a very, very short period, which can be very damaging. So all these authorities should be prepared for every scenario. It's not just, okay, drought is happening, there won't be heavy rainfall, no shower. No, it can happen. In hot weather, it can happen. Next slide, please. Optimize water resources. This so rainwater harvesting is very important. It's a very low cost adaptation technology to use it, and flood protection and coastlines. Next slide, please. So my key messages, this is very short, but almost comprehensive. First of all, El Nino typically extreme weather and rainfall patterns. If you want to know what's really happening in your region, National Meteorological Hydrological Services can provide you with that information. You can also have access to regional climate centers in all regions. They are available. They provide and provides advocacy to help governments. Advanced forecasts help in preparations to protect lives and livelihoods. Combined climate it's not just the task and responsibility of one section of the government, one sector, and certain part of the community. It's a collective work to help each other, to work together for common solution. Each El Nino cycle may have different intensity of extremes, impacts, and geographical coverage. So it doesn't mean that if you observe certain phenomena in one location, exactly the same in the same location this time. It may be different. It may be more intensified, less intensified. It may happen in a different place. So experience sharing, knowledge sharing is very important. Climate change disturbs normally expected El Nino, La Nina impacts and gives a kind of unexpected, uneven distribution of impacts. That's why dynamic monitoring of how it evolves is important. Again, as I said, National Meteorological Hydrological Services and regional climate centers are the best technical sources to provide you with most updated information. And time for awareness raising, informed decision-making, planning, and preparedness is now. So you approach any authority you know can help, can improve your action to deal with El Nino impacts. I think this was my last slide. The next one. I stop here. I don't know if there were questions in the chat or not. I thank you for your patience listening to my talk.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amir. It was very insightful and very helpful for our awareness because we didn't know, I would say, the linkage between what's going on when El Nino come and the measurements and metrics of how it is actually instructed, right? I mean, how it is actually being within climate change agenda and concrete practical measures for different institutions. Thank you so much. It was very helpful and will be helpful for everyone who is developing climate change agenda on a practical field. Thank you so much. Right now we are opening the floor for the questions, and let me have a look, please. There are a lot of thank you in the chat. Yeah. So you would like to say something, right? I hear the voice. Okay. Welcome, please. Okay. We don't have this speaker, but if someone would like to ask Mr. Amir as an expert, welcome to raise your yellow digital hand. Yes. Yan, Tuach, Mon, welcome. Yan, the floor is yours. Okay, while Yan is preparing the mic, David, you're welcome. David Yukana Egbe.
Okay, yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm calling from Nigeria, precisely from Enugu State, Nigeria here. Please, in the presentation, the professor mentioned one of the causes of some of those very fire as a result of intense heat. Please, will you mind throwing more light into the mechanisms or the principle that surrounds this very wildfire? I mean, as a result of the intensity of the heat. Please, I really want to know the principle behind it. Thank you very much. Hello, I'm done.
Thank you. And right now we are waiting for the reply from Mr. Amir.
Okay, the question by Mr. David about heat wave. If I hear it correctly, the reason behind it, is it correct? Is that the reason behind it?
Yeah, what's the mechanism behind this very heat? I mean, like some of those very wildfire, the mechanism behind it. That's my question, sir. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. And yeah, so we are waiting for
I'm done.
the...
I'm done. I'm done.
Yes, thank you,
Yes.
David.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, we can hear you, and right now we are actually waiting for the reply. What is the mechanism of the heat wave? Mr. Amir, if you would like to briefly answer. Yeah, the mechanism
Yeah,
of the
excuse me,
heat wave.
my microphone was off. Excuse me. I had turned it off, yeah, to reduce the noise. First of all, when air masses get warmer and warmer, and when it lands on the surface, we experience heat wave. This is called high pressure heat waves that happen during normally El Niño and in dry regions. When hot air is combined with wind blow, it brings very dry situation with very low humidity. And when it happens in very dry situation and leads fire and wildfire breaks out and happen. So there is a linkage between dry air, between downward movement of air masses and warming and wildfire. This is a kind of loop or circle that when it happens, yeah, it brings wildfire. And El Nino, because of higher temperature, so we have hotter air that goes to dry regions and leads to heat wave.
Thank you. Right now it's clear. David, did you get the point? All right, and we move forward to Yan Tuash Mon. Yan, are you here now?
Yes, good evening. Are we together? Are you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. So I'm saying that what I'm saying is like we have done the session very well. So what I'm suggesting, so you can give us the module so that whenever we are going to do something, we can refer from the slide so you can provide us for the module.
Is it about learning module or what?
Yeah. Learning material. Learning material.
Okay. So I put in the chat a link from United States Columbia University. They have an institute on research and climate. I put in the chat. You go to that link and you will learn a lot about El Niño, La Niña, and Enzo cycles and their impacts.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amir. And the next question is for Fatma El Bayechi. I have a question, please. Is the impact of El Nino more severe in humid regions than in dry regions?
It depends on what kind of impact are we talking about. If we are talking about drought, yes, in dry regions, the impact of drought is higher than the impact of drought in humid regions. But if we are talking about high precipitation, humid regions experience more extreme precipitation. So it depends on the type of impact and location. For example, in the Latin American region, they are more concerned about fishery. It's their main food stock. And during El Nino, fishery stops. They cannot fish anything. The fish move toward the west. And this is a kind of impact that that wet region, humid region is experienced. It depends. Which region are you living and what kind of impact are you concerned? We reviewed the impacts. Major ones are on water, agriculture, health, and extreme events. So it depends. Yeah.
Thank you. The next question is from Senuri Jayavira. So can we forecast where will be high rain effect and for where will be the drought effect in the early stage of El Nino forming?
Yes, we can predict that. As I mentioned, there are many global and regional platforms that disseminate.
Participant 250.
Unfortunately, I don't have time at this moment to put all these links for you to review, to access those regional information distributed sector, to see what and the easiest way is at national level, you approach your national meteorological, hydrological service to ask about seasonal prediction. And if they have specialized prediction for El Nino, please check with them.
Thank you. The next question is from Hauna Ahmed Damagun. What early warning signs should African communities watch for in 2026 to prepare El Nino impacts?
So early warning, first of all, depends on two different regions, dry and wet regions. Those who are in dry regions normally should look for drought monitoring updates. Drought, like El Nino, is also a quantified index-based phenomena. you should see how strong will be the drought, and based on will it continue? The length of the period of drought is very important because the tolerance of community when all water reservoirs and food stock are diminished, but drought is still existing and continuing. This is very important. So in terms of early warning for all, check the drought monitoring reports and updates. For those who will be in wet regions, check about central part of a very narrow lane in Africa will experience higher than normal or wet period. They are not that much at risk, but dry regions are very important. Particularly Africa is extremely vulnerable to secure supply to drought, and geographically much larger part of Africa will suffer from drought. Only very narrow band of it will benefit from short wet periods. So be prepared for drought monitoring reports. Again, National Meteorological Hydrological Services disseminate this report. They share it with water and agriculture authorities also.
Thank you so much. And we have two more questions. Marvin Tejada, please tell your question out loud because I can't find it into the chat. And then Gabriel Arabi. Marvin, if you are here, welcome to speak, please. Or I will read the question by Gabriel Arabi. Okay, the question by Gabriel. What are the preventive measures for the early warning signs or El Niño? So seems like we already got some points, but still.
Yeah, the very simple solution, first of all, is reduce exposure to the water supply, food supply, and help vulnerable communities. So these are preventive measures. I had put them as anticipatory impacts and solutions.
Thank you. Kasali Mariam, do you have a question?
Yeah, thank you very much for the wonderful presentation, sir. Yeah, I do not have a question, but the issue is that I could not access the attendance link. I don't know my phone. I think my phone chat is not working, so I could not access the link.
Thank you, Kasali. Attendance link is in the chat. Next question is by Marvin Tejada. How do you explain the super typhoon, excuse me, how do you explain the super typhoon in Pacific now?
I don't know. Is it happening now? I'm not aware.
Yeah, me too. So, Marvin, is it happening now? Yes. Okay.
Okay. So as I said, El Niño has uneven representation of extremes and impacts. Even during dry periods, very short, high precision. That's because of warm air in the atmosphere, it will lead to precipitation. But generally, this can be in a very small scale, spatial scale, and short period, not as a common long-term impact of El Niño.
Thank you.
In which region is it happening? Can you put in the chat?
Oh, thank you.
Or on which country is it raining?
Taiwan.
Taiwan. Okay. Yeah, it's very local and not a regionally dominant phenomenon.
Okay, thank you so much. And Mr. Min, do we have space for 3 more questions, or we should wrap up for now? What do you think?
Yeah, please.
Sure. Thank you.
Only three questions.
Yeah, three questions and we will wrap up. Thank you so much. The next question is from Bhakti. Sir, drawing from your years at the WMO, how can communities navigate the harsh realities of El Nino today? Globally developing nations feel the climate crisis, yet underdeveloped nations bear the structural devastation. How do we address this profound injustice, and what concrete steps can reduce the suffering of those losing their homes to a crisis they did not cause?
Well, this is a very long story, which has always been discussed by climate change negotiators in subsidiary bodies in Bonn and also COP, Conference of Party sessions that in Brazil has personally observed how difficult negotiation is this topic. And because of the pressure of least developed and developing countries, a subject since many years ago, at least 10, 12 years ago, came on the agenda, which is called loss and damage, and then turned into Warsaw International Mechanism for Loss and Damage. And this is now part of the mechanism, not for financial compensation, but bringing obligation and commitment to developed countries to help developing countries to increase their resiliency. So this mechanism is now existing and it's very powerful. It's very, very much justified in terms of humanitarian aspect. So we should, countries, normally negotiators and delegates from and the countries build on that topic, collaborate, and try to ensure that more financial resources, technological solutions, and knowledge will be tapped to developing countries who need help.
Thank you so much. The next question is from Umindu Pabasara. I have a question about one of the points in the lecture slides. It mentions that during 1877-1878, the SST was 2.7 degrees Celsius, higher than normal. It's a little confused because this was long before the modern period of global warming caused by increased greenhouse gas emission. How could such a significant increase in SST occur back in 1877, 1878?
Yes, thank you very much for this very nice question. First of all, and any temperature rise which builds naturally in climate system is not necessarily caused by greenhouse gases. And why oceans reach such high level above normal when we didn't have that much high level of greenhouse gases? This is because trade winds or wind blows on oceans had weakened and allowed ocean be exposed much longer time to sunshine without high waves, without high level of mixing of ocean water. That's why such anomaly was built in 1877. And today, if we observe the same kind of level of El Nino, it is not caused by greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases uh, inject warming and heat to atmosphere, and then oceans absorb it gradually and get warmer, but not so rapidly. Of lower wind or lower trade winds, the impact is much more imminent and immediate, that within 1 year builds El Nino.
Thank you so much. And the last question is from Ian Toashmon. Once again, do you have a question or you just hold your hand raised? Okay, no questions. A reminder.
Yeah, I see questions.
Okay.
Yeah, excuse me. I see questions. People are asking, is Pakistan vulnerable to El Nino? Is Nigeria? Yes, everybody, even Europe. We are so far from monsoon. We are so far from the Pacific. Everywhere, everybody, every country is vulnerable because it is a coupled model. Atmosphere gets the heat from ocean, and we have global atmospheric circulation that the heat in atmosphere from subsidence of excess from top to down brings heat wave, drought, and all these things. In Europe, we have had even last week wildfires in France. And everybody, every country will be affected. We are one planet and we are living on the same under the same sky. It's sky is blue everywhere.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amin, for this inspiring and thought-provoking talk and answering. Yeah, you were kind to answer all of these questions. Thank you so much. Once again, a big round of applause to you as a respected speaker. And for those who are waiting for attendance certification or don't have an access, please follow the certification moderator in the chat. There is a link. By Sanuri Javira. So welcome to follow this link and mark your attendance. If you will have problems accessing the link, please contact Sanuri. Okay, and right now we will wrap up, and once again say you thank you so much for your time, dear Amir, and thank you so much, dear guests, colleagues, friends, partners. We are happy to see you on our rounding and regular sessions. And right now, we wish you have a good evening, have a good night, good morning for maybe some of you, and see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for coming.
Thank you to all of you, and I appreciate the organizers and Madam Moderator, Ms. Masood, and all your colleagues. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Stay if you would like to get a certificate and just mark your attendance. Or drop if you